Good morning and welcome to my wonderful encampment at Pennsic 52. Good morning. So this is a pavilion that I made myself 20 years ago, one of two actually, using instructions that you can find on greydragon.org. It is a hub and spoke pavilion, which means there is a hub on the inside and there are spokes that support it out, thereby freeing up the entire walls. And if you look on the inside of round pavilions that are depicted in this era, you will notice there are no upright poles supporting them, so there has to be something else. And one of the theories is that it's hub and spoke, just like this. So some of you, if you want to see how this thing sets up, I already chronicled that about 2 weeks ago, actually, in fact, almost to the day. And so if you want to see that process, you can go ahead and watch that as a recording. But today I'm going to show you the complete setup on the day we're about to tear down. It's just been so busy, ladies and gentlemen, fellow members of my court. So let's start with furnishings. This is a swing back settle. It is covered in what is called a banker in 15th century English. This is a lovely fabric, a brocade in this case, actually a tapestry in this case, that is just goes over the wood. This is what medieval upholstery is. They didn't attach the fabric to the wood, they just draped it. And so you could actually change changing your interior scheme, decor scheme was so much easier in the 15th century than it is now. Now, the nice thing about this is, there's two nice things, and I showed this during the setup, but I'll show you here. It actually has a swing back settle, or it has a swing back, which means that, we need to fix that. Pay no mind to the knob behind the curtain. If you're sitting on it and you want to sit on the other side, you just swing the back and then you can face the other way. This is especially important if you're sitting near a fire. If you want to be near the fire because it's warm and you want the warmth, and you can sit on that side of the settle. But if it's getting too warm and you don't want to sit next to facing the fire anymore, you just swing the back and face the other way. Now, the really wonderful thing, the wonderful feature about settles, these settles, is that they have chest storage on the inside. So this ended up being my project box. So I tossed all of the fabrics and projects that I'm currently working on in here. And then I knew where they were. We also stored our shoes under here neatly. Patents, turn shoes, more turn shoes, Pianelle, more turn shoes. And then this is a good place to put on your shoes. And I know some of you are saying, well, that doesn't look very comfortable to sit back on. Well, you're not supposed to slouch, my dearest courtiers. You should have good posture at all times.
All times.
Okay, coming into the pavilion. This is the silhouette that some of you watched me hang. And I actually wanted to demonstrate how to create this wonderful effect that you see in illuminations from the time. So the silk hanging starts off like this, and it basically creates a pavilion and a pavilion effect, which is fantastic in the mornings if you don't want the sunlight to wake you up. Like I don't like sunlight to wake me up. Then to gather it up, I just roll, 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 roll. Keep twisting, keep twisting, keep twisting. Form it in a little self knot on itself, like that. And then I tuck it in like so. And there it is. So this is a rope bed. If you want to see how we put this together and how we stuff the mattress and anything, we already demonstrated that 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago. This is an embroidered linen bedspread, and these sorts of bedspreads, coverlets as they're called, are actually mentioned in 15th century inventories in both Charlotte of Savoy's inventory and John Howard, Duke of Norfolk's inventories. Just wanted to show you what the composition of the bed is, for those who didn't see. We have a feather, what modernly would be a feather duvet, but kind of counts as a feather mattress by medieval standards. Over that, we have another feather mattress with down on top and the body feathers underneath. And then we have our straw mattress ticking here. So this is a linen bed cover, linen straw ticking, or linen ticking, and inside is straw. Now, unfortunately, Actually, we really could have stuffed more in. We really compacted it over the 2 weeks. You can see how compact it is after 2 weeks. Occasionally throughout the 2 weeks, when you're sleeping on one of these, the straw mattress, you need to fluff it. You just need to take everything off and fluff it. But we know that this is absolutely what they did, because in John Russell's book of Caring from 1461, he tells the steward, the chamberlain, that he needs to take everything off. He needs to take all of the bedding off. He needs to take the mattresses off and fluff them and air them, the mattresses, not just the blankets, and fluff them and air them. And so we know that having to fluff your mattresses, and especially your straw mattress, is absolutely what they did.
Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Susan. Thank you for joining us. So that is our bed composition, and it's a rope bed. And unfortunately, and I'll demonstrate, it has certainly stretched. You can see the big divot here in the middle. Right? It has absolutely stretched over the 2 weeks that 2 people have been sleeping on it. And we should have tightened it, but we were so busy, we couldn't be bothered, because to tighten it, you really do have to take the mattresses off.
So we did not sleep tight.
Yes, so for those who are wondering, we did not sleep tight. We slept medium loose. I don't know. Not loose. Completely loose, but.
Under the bed?
No, not under the bed.
No, storage.
Oh, right. So under the bed is, don't show them.
I can show the box.
Under the bed is plenty of room for storage. Also, it's a good place to throw anything that maybe doesn't quite fit with your aesthetic, but you still need it for your regular life, because we are not actually 15th century people, and some of us have devices and objects that we need in order to continue to live. Or if you're just too lazy to figure out how to hide something, you can toss it under the bed. I will tell you though, pro tip, under the bed is cool. So even when the pavilion heats up during the day, and it does, because there's full sun here until about 1:30 p.m., under the bed remains cool. And so if you have a larder, i.e. a cooler, if you keep it under the bed, the ice will last much longer.
Good morning, Twitchy.
Good morning, Twitchy. Thank you for joining us this morning/afternoon in your case. Right. So, of course, we actually have, so I wanted to show you all something and see what you think it is. Don't show them the candles.
I can't. You said candles.
Okay. Well, so these chandeliers are copies of ones found in one of the editions of Renee's Book of the Tournaments. If you look at the chandeliers that are actually illuminating the Helmschau hall, the hall where the helmet display is happening, the helm display is happening, and the crestamental display is happening. You see those. Now, the great thing about these is they break down flat into 3 pieces, 2 boards and 1 dowel. So it's pretty fantastic. And we put these up there just so you would know what they were, so you would know it was a chandelier. But actually, this one is designed for tea lights. And that's a practical method. Yes, I know. Tea lights, probably not 15th century. Never seen evidence of them. But if I were to put candles on this, there's a good chance they would burn the spokes. So it's sometimes we make accommodations for safety while allowing for a lovely 15th century lighting at night. And these light up pretty darn brightly. I've also documented that. You can see what it looks like to have this pavilion illuminated at night. If you look through the content for the past 2 weeks, you'll find lots of different depictions of this space at different times of day.
Ooh.
Okay, questions?
No, statement. Twitchy's currently doing gold work practice and doing some medieval stock patterns for the exercises, so
nice.
They can then go on to do some more opus Anglicanum.
Anglicanum.
I'm gonna butcher that. Okay. And their trestles have arrived.
Nice. Well, you said trestles?
Trestles.
Yes. Well, speaking of trestles, this is a true trestle table, and a true trestle table is literally a 3-legged trestle, and this is a replica of originals that have actually survived, made by Dupuis Creations. In case you're wondering,
leg is way off.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
That is scary, considering what we have on there.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
we need to fix that.
But that should show you just how secure it is, actually.
Yeah.
So the thing about a trestle, you put a board on top, and that's where things like sideboard, on the board, above board, below the board, that's where this comes from. This is the board, in case you're wondering.
That one specifically.
Yes, this one specifically. And the lovely thing about this is, because you're covering it in a tablecloth, your board doesn't have to be nice at all. It can just be functional. Yeah. Now, when you're using these 3-legged trestles, you want to make certain that you stagger them, right? So the it's 3 legs, so it's a A in the front and just sort of a straight in the back. So you put the A on one side, pointing this way, and then on the other end, you put the A pointing the other way. You don't put the A on both sides. That's not going to create maximum stability. This is how you create stability. Now, if you don't care about stability and you just want it to look pretty, well, you do you, boo, but don't be surprised when your board comes crashing to the ground with all of your beautiful ceramics and pottery on it. So this is one of my favorite pieces in my entire collection. It's a replica of the pictures you see in a lot of the Annunciations. Isn't that gorgeous? And it holds so much liquid. Yeah. It's fantastic.
One of your people's here now at the parking gate, Russell Hauk.
Oh, well, good luck with your teardown, sir, as we all shall be engaging in soon.
Oh yeah, this is all our stuff.
This is my glamping setup. This is how I live for 2 weeks at Pennsic. Yes.
We brought all this.
We brought all of it. A lot of it lives in storage here, actually, or will live in storage. So in terms of lighting, we have different options. These are the candlesticks by Todd Cutler, and they are completely portable. What's lovely about them is that they completely fold down into just basically a metal stick. And they're really beautiful. And you have 3 options. You have the narrow taper option. You've got, nope, that's not coming off. You've got a spike. You have a spike option for less narrow tapers, and then for rush lights. I actually never experimented with rush lights before, but a rush light would stick right in there. Rush lights are basically the lights of the lowest classes because they're cheap, they're easy to make. Candles, beeswax candles, are insanely expensive in the Middle Ages and today. So that was something to take into consideration in how one used lighting. But what we've discovered is that oil lamps, for medieval lighting in modern cost circumstances, oil lamps are the cheapest option because we've only had to refill this little oil lamp three times. And we've used it every night in camp.
And it's really not a lot of oil.
And it's not a lot of oil, and it's really, really bright. And I've also documented what this little guy looks like illuminated in this space at night, if you want to see that.
And they've already asked about this.
Yes,
Susan asked, did we get it?
So
we did.
This is not 15th century. This is ancient Roman. I'm just going to make this clear. This is just a little bit of a conceit on my part because I saw it and I loved it. And so we bought it. This is a replica of what I'm calling lampaliers.
They want a closer look at the candlestick holder before we move on.
Right. So this is the Todd Cutler candlestick. It's really beautiful, and you can see what it looks like after a couple of years of abuse.
Travel.
Literally, these candlesticks have literally tens of thousands of frequent flyer miles on their belt. I fly with these because they're so compactable, they're so sturdy that for flying to living history events, which is basically the only way I go to living history events, I can take this with me and have lovely authentic lighting options wherever I go.
And to answer that question, we can show a little bit of cooking equipment when we get to that.
Yes, we can.
But back to the oil lamp.
Yes, so this is a, I think it's called a Corona Luce. It's basically, it is a lampalier. It's an oil lamp chandelier. And this is a replica of ones from ancient Rome from like the 1st and 2nd century AD. And they have found them in various sizes, including this giant one that has 32 wicks. And it basically turns the space into daylight. So we burned it with olive oil, and it's really absolutely stunning, and I chronicled that as well so you can see what that looks like. However, this is not going to stay here. This is not part of our encampment. This was something we bought from a potter here, and I just had to see how it looked illuminating canvas, which I won't get to do once I get back to Korea.
And they are modern chains?
Yes, these are modern chains. That's just what we had right now. So just let your eyes glaze and look past it, right? Imagination, people, use it. Okay, so on this table, we have these lovely linens. These are Perugian linens, and they were actually called that in 15th century English sources because they were typically woven in Perugia in Italy. And you have both these lovely towels and then the tablecloth, and this tablecloth has taken a real beating this event in terms of stainage. I'm going to take it home and see what I can do to it. But these were exported all over Europe in the 14th and 15th and 16th century. So this is a very common, popular motif and design. And so, you know, modern Turkish towels look very similar to this, although not quite as ornate in their patterning. Right? And yes, this is a linen cotton blend. The blue is cotton, the white is linen. Right, because the cotton takes dye stuffs much better than linen does. So they would actually dye the cotton indigo, or dye it with woad, dyed blue. Sometimes later in the 15th century, indigo gets imported, and then they would weave that cotton in. And in fact, there were laws about that you had to, that the napers, the people who made this, the people who made the people who made this actually had to follow the rule of blending their fabrics, the fibers appropriately, so they weren't competing with other guilds.
And we'll get to the floor in a moment.
Yes,
because we forgot to mention that. We should have worked from the ground up.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, we're going a bit random here today.
Very random.
So this is my toiletry kit. This is the chest in which I keep all of my toiletries, and I decant my toiletries into little jars, and I cover them with waxed linen cloth. So anything I need, for example, medicaments that allow me to dance for hours and walk miles and do all the things I do. They go in these little jars. My toothpaste, powder for setting my 12th century recipe sun cream. This is a proper replica comb, although it's basic in design. I got Cosmetica Obscura gave this to me. This is a nail brush. This is not historical. I have not seen any, rather it's not medieval anyway, but it is almost impossible to keep my fingernails clean because I'm always picking up my skirts to walk, and my skirts are getting dirty and dusty from all of the dust that's dragging up, and that comes through to the front. And so every time I do this, my fingernails end up with dirt underneath of them, and I'm not going to walk around with dirty fingernails. So this might not be a medieval item, but it lives in my toiletry kit.
It's a necessity.
It is a necessity.
They
absolutely.
love the chest as well.
Yeah, so this is, I decant everything, and if I have something in a jar that has precious active ingredients, for example, my night sea cream, I just put that in here and then cover it. And then the only time I actually see the little modern jar is when I'm doing my ablutions at night, right? So there's some things that shouldn't be decanted. However, mineral sunblock is just fine. Mineral sunblock it's not reactive. It doesn't degrade when it's exposed to oxygen or anything like that. So
that's clever. Oh, I'm sorry. I drifted off.
Okay. Yeah, so this is my chest. I got this chest from Historic Enterprises 20 years ago. I don't know if they're still selling them or not.
Some of the little clay pots we got from the old Hansa out of Tallinn. I believe that's these ones.
No, these are from Germany.
Those are from Germany?
These are from a potter in Germany. We got them at the Frankfurter Weihnachtsmarkt.
Oh, that's right. Those ones.
We got these at the Frankfurter Weihnachtsmarkt.
Is this, this is the...
Nope, Frankfurter Weihnachtsmarkt. No, we don't have any.
I don't have any of them?
No, we don't have any of them.
Oh, fine.
And these are all either cuajada jars from Spain or yogurt jars from Europe, right? Because you can actually get high quality yogurts in ceramic, and I keep the jars, obviously. So, yes. But they look just like, if you look for little medieval pots and jars, they look just like them. So. Right. Any questions about anything else on the table?
The metal from the box, I think, is just... This is just...
It's iron.
Iron.
Yeah, it's iron. It's even... Although it's rusting a little bit. It's rusting a little bit. So it's been blacked, I think.
And your little sea sponge.
Yes, this is how I wash my face, with my little sea sponge. Sea sponges were a commodity in the Middle Ages, and they were exported northward from the places where they actually were harvested in the Mediterranean. So a perfectly authentic choice for cleaning your face, and it feels oh so nice to clean your face with this. And this is the cleaning water from my ablutions last night. But what's at the bottom is not actually dirt from my skin. That's actually the clay, the bentonite clay in the soap. For those who might be wondering, that's the bentonite clay in this soap, and this is a replica soap that is exported from Aleppo, and it's been made according to this recipe for 1,000 years. It's been made from this recipe for 1,000 years, and it's a very basic recipe of olive oil, bentonite clay, lye, and laurel berry.
Sorry, people.
Yeah,
Technology is
Sorry
fighting
about
me.
that. Technology is awful.
Where did we get the trestles in the furniture? Actually,
The trestles are Dupuis. This Dupuis Creations. They're a furniture merchant in the SCA. So we got the trestles from Dupuis. This bench is from Dupuis. This is a lovely little bench. It also breaks down entirely into, well, not quite entirely. It breaks down into the top here, and then the legs come out and just kind of seat inside of it. Right. And let's go back to this set of shelving is also Dupuis Creations. No, they're not a channel sponsor, sadly. So this shelving, right? It's not a replica of anything medieval. Exactly. Of course, they had shelving. You can see shelving, but for the sake of keeping my life organized inside the pavilion, we actually don't know how they organize themselves in pavilions because often those details are completely left out. What we can know is when you find inventories that talk about the kind of furnishings they have, and I think that Charlotte of Savoy's inventory mentions a set of shelving that is breakdownable, but don't hold me to that. I have to go back and double check on that. So this is a nod to a need to organize my things because I don't have a full complement of servants to constantly be organizing everything for me, right? But this breaks down flatly into the uprights, into the uprights and the shelves, and it's really done wonders for helping keep this pavilion so very neat and tidy. Some of the containers I'd like to point out here. What's happening?
we didn't turn on.
Oh gosh. Well, sorry everyone. It was on. They're gremlins. What?
What's the green thing?
What's the green thing? Oh, this is not what you think it is. This is an iron. This is a linen smoother. Actually, this is literally used for smoothing the wrinkles out of linen and also for polishing it. You all are asking me about polishing linen with the Neolithic axe head. Well, I don't have a Neolithic axe head, but I now have a replica 15th century linen smoother made by Historical Glassworks. They're actually made of glass, and you actually find these lumps of glass in the archaeological record, and you can actually sometimes see them in depictions of tailor shops. So this is a linen smoother / polisher. You can use it to open up the seams of garments, would work on silk as well. And if you just keep working at it, you will actually get a sheen on your linen. Yep.
Well, Cornelia, if you do want one, we can talk to them. They're still here today for a little while.
Yeah, Historical Glassworks, reach out to them. They're not really super great at delivering things quickly, but if there's no particular time hack and they have one in stock, they will happily send it out to you. I think they have an Etsy shop.
Thank you, Still Me. Like your streams, recent sub.
Thank you, Still Me. Welcome to the community. Here is a larger sponge.
You don't have to throw stuff at me.
The sponge is so bouncy. It has so much potential energy.
Oh, now it's working.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, everyone. We thought the mic, everything was on before we started. Anyway, this is my body sponge. So I have my little face sponge, and then I have the sponge for actually scrubbing my body. I will tell you, for those who haven't lived for 2 weeks wearing nothing but 15th century clothing, walking around outside miles a day, skirts suck up dust like a vacuum cleaner, and it ends up all over your legs. And of course, the dust that floats up gets up on your face. And so every night before going to bed, I use this to clean off all the dust on my legs and arms.
And it probably does have an exfoliant quality.
Yes, no doubt it has it. It does. Especially if I use it dry, it would definitely help exfoliate. When it's wet, it's softer and it's not quite as exfoliant. But even then, it's going to have a light exfoliant quality.
How long will it last?
These things last forever. Natural sponges last so much longer than synthetic sponges. I've had some natural sponges for 20 years. So they really do last forever, especially if you don't, chew on them.
And the really key question is, what will the feline overlords do to the sponge?
So, right, maybe the sponge won't last forever. Yeah, so we have different containers for things. Now, of course, this is a living history event, which doesn't mean that it's a reenactment. And we have to live here for 2 weeks, and we have to make concessions because I don't live near here. I live 10,000 miles away. But also there's some things we still like to have in our daily life that are perhaps not exactly 15th century at all, unless you live in Asia. So we still like our tea. And some of us are addicted to caffeine, and that's not me.
I don't know what you mean.
So what I do is I like to decant things like this into other containers like this. And that way it looks nice from the outside. And the only time I have to interface with that is in the morning when it's time to make tea.
And who made that?
This is a willow birch bark. This is birch bark, actually. Look at how wonderfully flexible that is. This was made by Feed the Ravens. They are a fantastic vendor here. They do mostly Iron Age stuff. But they do expand, for example, these wonderful replica 14th, 15th century spools, thread spools / bobbins, depends on what you want to call them. They are made by Feed the Ravens, and they only cost $14 each. That's a bargain for a hand-turned item like this. So we bought a bunch of them so that we can rewind. We bought a bunch of these so we can rewind thread off of modern spools onto these. Yeah. Oh, and also from Feed the Ravens is this gorgeous replica curved awl. Yeah.
Can't wait to use that.
Yeah, stay tuned for a lovely, sexy pair of patens from the 15th century. They're leather, they're super bouge. Think, I don't know, Fendi or something like that. Some designer, modern haute couture designer label. That's what these patents are going to be. Okay, so moving on. In this pavilion, we have lots of chests. This is a chest world. This is a chest heavy world. Welcome to the world of chests. Now, some of these are replicas and some of these are bargain Goodwill finds. This is a charity shop find right here. This is a charity shop find, but you know what? I can't afford to drop $20,000 at a time to have everything perfect at once. I have to accumulate these pieces bit by bit. And it's better to have a wooden chest at all than some other tub. This is, however, a simple replica 15th century style chest. This is also by Dupuis Creations. This is the chest for my condottiero's belongings, right?
I wonder if Feed the Ravens would make the Roman body scraper, the strigil.
Oh, the strigil. I don't, maybe.
I haven't seen one there, but
I haven't, but that doesn't mean anything, yeah.
If people ask, they probably would.
Yeah, right. Okay, so under this...
Labotin? I'm not sure what Labotin Susan is asking. Labotin?
Oh, Louboutin, she's talking about, I think, designers. Okay, so under this tapestry is a chest, but this isn't just any chest. This is a larder. This is an ice chest. And the water is definitely completely melted at this point, but it's still cold. So, because, of course, medieval people, greetings from Western Pennsylvania, United States. Medieval people, when they went on campaign, when they went on campaign, they could procure fresh items by simply looting them from the local inhabitants, right? Or if they were attending a tournament and they were in a town, they could send their servants every day to the market to fetch all the materials they would need for their daily meals. Well, I don't have a household of 100 servants attending me here. We also can't afford to go to there is a local market here on site, but it's not exactly necessarily the most affordable. And they also don't necessarily have all the things that I want every day. So we make this concession and we have a larder. But I will tell you that in the 15th century, they had what we might call an ice box. It was used for chilling wine, and it was this beautiful upright piece of furniture. And that frankly would be fantastic to have one of those as my larder. But until then, this is the concession we make, right?
So for everyone who's watching, we did go over the bed earlier in the stream.
Yes, we did go over the bed at the beginning of the stream. So if you go back and rewatch from the beginning, you'll be able to get all the details of the bed.
And there's an alternate video where we set it up.
Yes, and 2 weeks ago, roughly, we did a whole series of videos on setting all of this up. So you can watch us set up the pavilion, you can watch us set up the bed, you can watch us make the straw mattress, you can watch us layering everything together. We demonstrated it all. So if you want to see you're basically watching this backwards if you're just now tuning in.
Okay. And somebody had asked a question about the flooring.
Yes, the flooring. Okay, so flooring. So we have at the base, if you look at this hideous, this stained thing, this is a drop cloth. This is a painter's drop cloth. It is cotton canvas, right? And they had cotton canvas in the medieval Europe, and it's very heavy. This is heavy, heavy drop cloth. It is not like one of those flexible thin ones. It is super stained from years of use, 20 years of use, in fact. And for those of you who don't remember its origin story, at the very first event where we set up this pavilion with this drop cloth, at their inaugural event, the site we were using was a sheep's grazing meadow, and they had been grazing the sheep there until the weekend before. And so this poor drop cloth became saturated with the effluence of ovine creatures. And so we actually had to take it to a car wash, the drop cloth, and use the scrubby brush with all the suds to turbo clean it out. But unfortunately, the stains didn't come out, just the smell.
We didn't make it to the dance last night, Susan.
We did not make it to the dance last night. Yeah, we heard it was the ball last night was a complete success, I've been told. So otherwise, on top of that cotton drop cloth, and no, we do not put any plastic tarps under this, and I've never needed them ever with this drop cloth. And I've been in, oh my God, the world is ending, it's 40 days and 40 nights of flooding kind of rain situations with this exact pavilion, with this exact floor, and we were dry on the inside. Literally, a river was flowing under the cloth, and it created a waterbed effect, so that when you walked on the drop cloth with the water flowing under it, it was literally, it was uncanny, but no water came through. That's how waterproof this thing is. On top of that, though, of course, I have my turkey rugs, as John Florio so charmingly calls them in the 1620 edition of the Decameron. Most of them are actually hand-woven vintage rugs like this. These are. And you can tell that because look how flexible that is. When the rug can be folded like this in teeny tiny bits, it is a genuine hand-woven rug made of wool, right? And this one is not. This is a Costco special, not even containing a single bit of natural fiber, which is why I don't care that it's under the bed. It becomes the under the bed carpet, right? So, so then we just have all these carpets. We've accrued them over time. Again, it's not like I just dropped $20,000 one day and acquired all of this. Same thing with the tapestries. None of you asked about the tapestries yet? So these tapestries, some of them are actual tapestries, and some of them are silk screened. This was hand painted on tapestry woven wool linen ground. It's a replica of La Dame à la Licorne, and this is the sense of touch, which you can tell because she's touching both the banner, actually it's a jousting lance with a banner on top of it, and the horn of the unicorn. And yes, I'm absolutely certain that was intended to be a double entendre, triple entendre in every way. 1,000,000%, especially since the central piece of this is called desire. Over here, this is an actual tapestry. It's actually woven with threads of different colors. This is also wool and linen, and this is the sense of hearing, ouïr, right? The lady is playing the portative organ while her damsel is actually operating the bellows to keep the air flowing.
Question.
Yes.
Do you find the turkey rugs provide any insulation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if the ground were cold, and yes, I have absolutely done cold weather events, like in Sweden in May when it was getting down to 0 degrees centigrade or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. These carpets absolutely provide insulation from cold ground. Obviously in the summer, it doesn't really matter because you maybe want cold ground actually, but yeah, absolutely 100% they provide insulation.
And then it's not about the pavilion, but why wouldn't they just make the skirts shorter so they don't get dirty?
Because conspicuous consumption. It's all about conspicuous consumption, right? Ladies like to
just answered it too.
conspicuous consumption. And I will actually admit that this started shorter, but over time, it actually started when I made it. The wool only went to the ground, but over the years, it has actually kind of just naturally stretched out and gone longer. But I mean, look at how elegant that is, that lovely pulling at the feet. This is the look you want, baby. Come on, get with the program. You have to sacrifice for fashion. If that means getting dirty, it means getting dirty.
Heating.
Heating, oh, so they did have braziers We do not use one. It hasn't gotten. It's never been so cold that I wish. That's not true. There were a couple of nights in Sweden where I wished I'd had a brazier, but because of this canopy becomes a tent within a tent. And so when you and or your servant or your spouse are inside of this tent within a tent, right? When you're inside your tent within a tent, then it's warm. It gets warm on the inside, right? Your body heat, your exhalations from respirating, because hopefully you're alive and not dead, that becomes a tent within a tent. And this is silk. This is a silk hanging, silk canopy, silk walls. I made this all by myself. I sewed it by hand, not by machine. Put the needle through my finger a couple of times on the canopy itself because it's made of a really thick upholstery with the silk on top. But inside, this becomes perfectly comfortable even on the coldest nights. It might take a few minutes to warm up to it, and also it might take a few minutes for the bed to warm up, but you have to remember that I should have servants who who would actually come in with. She's standing. One of my damsels is standing behind us, which is why that off-camera look was as she's eating her breakfast. So one of the things that your servants would do is actually warm the bed. They would bring in a bed warmer and actually warm the bed for you. And this is also described in that 1461 book of Caring by John Russell. When it's time to make the bed, time to put his sovereign to bed, he's supposed to warm the bed for him. Yeah. So, if I had my full complement and also if I had a bed warmer, then that could happen, but it hasn't gotten cold enough here for me to even dream about that.
So we actually lived in Germany, and that's how we got our stuff to Sweden. We just drove.
Oh yes, I expatriated to Germany when I was 22, studied at the University of Heidelberg, got a job translating at Merck KGaA, lived a happy German life there for years. Most of this was made in Germany. Well, the pavilion was made in Germany anyway. Canopy, that was all made in Germany. But, eventually life takes you elsewhere. So that's how we got everything to Sweden. We drove and we took the ferry. Let's see, decoration. This was actually painted to be built into another pavilion, not by me, but by another lady who has since retired from court, shall we say, and she no longer needed it. And so we purchased, 30 feet, 40 feet of this for $20 or $30. It was a ridiculously low amount of money we gave her. And it fits, we actually poked holes in it so that we can actually tie it up to the cups at the end of the spokes so that it will actually stay up, and I think it makes a very lovely interior decoration. So you see white canvas pavilions all the time in depictions, but in the inventories of the nobility of counts and countesses, or counts and countesses, dukes and duchesses, kings and queens, you find that they're made out of silk and that they're bright colors. Right. So yes, this is certainly what I could have, but honestly, I think I need to upgrade to a bright red silk pavilion made of taffeta, a la Charlotte of Savoie, du Savoir. Questions?
That's one of the goldwork patterns that Twitchy's using.
Yes.
Your tent was the inspiration. Nice.
Nice, fantastic.
We can talk about how sturdy these are. We can use it to hang stuff.
Oh yeah, so these spokes, let's show them the supply tent maybe. Okay, so we have a supply tent, and this is where we stow all the things that aren't part of my courtly existence. And yesterday it looked perfect. My damsel Isabeau made it look so beautiful. She really did. It looked literally like there was ghosts in here throwing things out, the way she was cleaning it. It was great. I wish I'd filmed that. So spokes become really handy places to store things. Like you can store weapons up there, you can hang your clothes to let the wrinkles out, you can hang your laundry to dry. And what I like to do is I bring these cloths that really have these wonderful reproduction patterns on them and just cover anything that is not quite right. Right, and it's unfortunately you're not getting the full perfect effect that it was yesterday because we have since yesterday lived in it some more. But yeah, it looked pretty nice. It looked pretty nice. So having an extra supply tent, especially if you have a man-at-arms, is really key.
Because you don't want this
Yeah.
hanging around everything.
Oh, another tip. So for this, the way this pavilion and most pavilions are designed, there's a spike in the front for closing your doors if you need to. For example, in the rain. Well, handy dandy bowl keeps people from stubbing their toe on it, like I've done a dozen times before I figured out that you could put a handy dandy bowl on it to protect your feet and make people realize that there's something there they shouldn't step on.
I love the flex of a separate tent for the mess and stuff. We're buying a third.
We're buying a third tent. We got an amazing deal for $1,000 on an 18-foot pavilion, hub and spoke pavilion, $1,000 with ground cloth. It's a ridiculous deal. It's used, but I don't care. That's an amazing deal. Right, okay, so this is my glamping setup for Pennsic 52 2025. Are there any questions? Is there anything we didn't cover? Just looking around one last time while I'll let you all get your questions out. Going to be doing a post-mortem. I'll do a live Q&A post-mortem at some point. Stay tuned for that.
Pennsic Hall.
Pennsic what? Oh, Pennsic Hall. Yes, we'll be doing something on our Pennsic Hall. All the wonderful items we've procured here from the amazing artisans that purvey their works at this fine fair. And I think you're going to really like some of the things we purchased. I'm pretty happy with some of my purchases, especially my replica, my reproduced skin creams from Cosmetica Oscura using medieval recipes from 12th to 16th century for various applications, including to plump and firm the breasts, of course.
Pavilion 3 is actually bigger.
Yeah, Pavilion 3 is bigger. Pavilion 3 might become the communal pavilion for this camp. It might become our gathering point, our dining pavilion, because it's pretty big.
What do you do when you're not doing this?
I don't know. No, when I'm not doing this, I am researching. I'm still sewing and recreating. I spend a lot of my time just continuing to research and explore. I teach. I have a travel channel, so I'm making content for that. I teach dance and cooking and sewing, not just historical, modern as well. Yeah, I'm pretty busy when I'm not doing this.
Let me go over your armor and casting stuff.
Oh, yes.
They are channel sponsors.
The armor and castings pieces, yes.
This is Pennsic.
Yes, so we are at Pennsic 52 2025, and many of you have wanted to see it more up close, some of the amazing bling I have, replica bling from Armor and Castings. This is a coronet and is a replica, I think, of St. Margaret of Sweden. Unfortunately, I don't remember if that's true or not, but this style of coronet you see all the way up until the 16th century. And so this is the coronet I wear for official occasions and also when I just want to cast an even bigger presence than I naturally cast. This little lovely nouch is a replica of Beatrice d'Este's nouch. If you look at her portrait, who did that portrait? I don't remember who did her portrait, but if you look at her portrait, come up here. Yeah, you come up here. She actually has it pinned to her fillet on the side, beautifully like that, right? This is, of course, all of you are always asking about this all the time, and some of you get very angry when I wear it, unreasonably angry and irritated when I wear it with just this kirtle. This is Maria Portinari's collar, a replica of it by Armor and Castings. And I just wanted to quickly point out that it is not, when you make a cast item, it's not as though you just make a mold exactly like this in one piece, you dump the metal into the mold and it comes out like this. No. Each of the pieces have to be individual, each of these segments, each of the layers have to be individually cast and then connected. But the things like these rosettes, they're cast. This is electroplated instead of gilt because no one wants to pay how much it would cost to actually gild something like this by hand. But these are enameled. You have to paint that enamel on. You can't just dip it in a pot. So they actually paint the enamel on. And then it's fired, so the enamel is set. And then each of these little pearls has to be attached, right? There's a ton of handwork that goes into assembling a cast piece like this. It's not just a question of popping out of a mold and it's done, fully formed.
Is it gold?
Yeah, so it's gold plated with actual gold, but on inside it's bronze. Yeah, it's bronze on the inside, gold plated on the outside. And
Your hat?
look the miracle nouch, my miracle pendant, the one that literally slipped off of my neck because the silk tie came undone and I didn't notice. It was found and returned. As far as we can tell, none the worse for wear. Doesn't it look so charming there, perched on the side of my atour of my bonnet? This is another of their pieces, but this has been discontinued. Actually, they might remodel it and relaunch it. This is a replica of one worn by John the Fearless, and my condottiero wears it on his. He wears it on his berretta. His berretta. Wow. Oh, and then yes, one more. We live in an armored castings rich environment. This is another of their pieces, and this is from the first half of the 15th century. I think it's a copy of one depicted in a Van Eyck painting, I think. This we actually won the other day in a raffle at the Midnight Madness Market 2 nights ago. I never win anything, but of course, as a proper countess, I have gifted it to my newest damsel, Isabeau, so that she can have a thing of extreme beauty and delicacy is English. And delicacy, not delicatesse, an English delicacy on her bourrelet. Yeah, which you were all complimenting her on her bourrelet yesterday and during our getting dressed session, and she very much appreciates those compliments. You can keep them coming. Isabeau needs more compliments. Right. Okay. Anything else? Oh, first, okay. I have not seen a candle dowser that looks exactly like this, but I have seen ones that look similar. This is a candle dowser. Don't blow your candles out. Use a candle dowser. When you blow your candles out, you will literally blow hot wax all over your lovely Perugian tablecloth. Ask me how I know. So, same thing for your oil lamp. You can actually just use this. It works so well. We actually documented just how quickly things actually douse with these things. Get yourself a candle dowser. You can often find these in antique stores for very little money. Okay, questions?
How do you wash your hair?
Good question. I did actually a whole demonstration a couple of days ago on medieval hair washing. So you can see the process from beginning to end. But basically, there's a bucket. I fill up a beautiful pitcher like this, for instance, with water. I have my comb, and this kind of soap was used in the Mediterranean, especially for washing hair. But there is a recipe in the Trotula, which is a 12th century manual on gynecology, cosmetics, and women's health in general. And it's recopied and reproduced and spread throughout Europe until the end of the 15th century. There's a hair wash recipe in there that is basically just, it's literally water and lye. It's a solution, it's a lye solution. And they would pour that over their hair, and you use this comb to comb it through and to loosen up and get out the grease, and then you rinse it. And also these combs are part of the hair care process. This is basically a dry washing device because the tines of this comb actually capture the dust and remove the grease from your hair and redistribute it neatly through the strands. So, but if you want to see the full hair washing process, I did chronicle that several days ago. You can check it out here on this channel.
You mentioned yesterday your neighbors were smoking pot. Are they also part of the show, and is it allowed there?
So this is not a show. I have to be clear. This is not a reenactment. It's an event where people come and explore the Middle Ages in various ways. Some people much sadly less so than others. Technically, it is allowed, unfortunately, because it's legal in the state. Welcome to the new age.
And tobacco and pot are not period to our...
No, they are not. No, tobacco is introduced in the 17th century to England, as far as I know. And in fact, James I writes he publishes his own pamphlet. He publishes a polemic against it because he thinks it's horrible. Of course, then they're smoking pipes, not cigarettes, is a much later invention. So yeah, it's even King James, one of the earliest royal health initiatives of which I'm aware, at least in Western Europe, is actually James I, and it's against tobacco smoking. How fun is that?
Okay, Savvy. I think Cassie answered the question about why you don't want to just blow out your candles, but no, the dowser does not stop smoke.
No, there will still be smoke. It does not stop. But I actually like the gentle curl of smoke that whisks up from a freshly doused candle. There's something, especially beeswax, very pleasant smell.
Well, Allison, if you did get to go to Pennsic, the Contessa will probably be here.
Yes, this, barring very extraordinary circumstances, i.e. pandemics, I am here every year doing the full 2 weeks, exploring medieval culture, material culture firsthand by living in spaces like this, eating food, dancing, listening to music, playing games, and sharing the knowledge that other people have to bring than just me. Because here we have an amazing collection of artisans, wide variety of skills. I didn't even get to show you the pottery kiln that they build here every year. They were firing last night until 2:30 a.m. Replica medieval pottery. I didn't get to show you the bread oven they build every year. So next year I'm going to make those my 2 priorities. It's going to be a hot stuff hot stuff priorities. I'm going to show you smithing next year. I'm going to show you the kiln the pottery making process from start to end next year. I'm going to show you the medieval bread oven. Yeah, so next year the theme's going to be hot stuff with the creative Contessa.
2 questions.
Yes.
Did somebody help you get dressed today?
No, this was all me. It's easy to get dressed like this by myself. It's more fun if I have someone with me, but I can absolutely dress myself. I can actually dress myself in all the layers. It's just it's much more enjoyable to have someone assist. Have survived starting in about 1444 is the earliest one that actually described dances. They described the footwork, sort of, enough for us to kind of get an idea and come up with a reasonable reconstruction. They describe choreographies. We actually have dance music from the 15th century onward. So it's actual proper dance manuals. Anything before that is 100% conjectural. We have some dance music before the 15th century, but goose egg on useful dance descriptions and no dance manuals. So if anyone is teaching a 14th century dance, they made it up. It's conjectural. Just keep it, or earlier. It's conjectural.
Bye, Still Me. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, Still Me. Thank you for coming.
Any embroiderers at the event?
Lots of embroiderers. There were lots of embroidery classes, so you might not realize this. At this event, there are literally dozens, if not hundreds of classes a day on a huge array of medieval material culture topics, many of them hands-on. All levels of embroidery, including gold work, including padded work, including opus anglicanum. So they have artisan displays here where the artisans sit and work on their thing, and you can go and ask them questions and even try it out. That was the first week. Unfortunately, it was always scheduled against my dance classes, so I'm going to definitely have to schedule things more carefully next year, because I didn't get to introduce you to those amazing set of artisans who are just out there sharing their passion and their skill.
Hello from Germany, Katie Anna.
Grüß dich, grüß dich.
Hi, Vila.
Hi, Vila. Thank you for coming back.
Okay, when does the event end?
The event ends today. Actually, it ends tomorrow.
For us, it ends as soon as the
Yes,
camera
exactly.
drops.
As soon as the camera drops, we're tearing down. But technically, tomorrow is the last day, but most people are leaving today. It's a 2-week event, and most people come for the 2 weeks, and they arrive on the first Friday as of 2 weeks ago. And so they want to actually use the weekend to get home and get settled in before they have to go back to the grind, as it were.
Vila Vendetta's ex is a blacksmith, and he does it all by hand with no machines.
Nice.
The longest running forge in the UK.
Nice.
Really cool.
That is pretty damned awesome. We actually have here at least one blacksmith who has a medieval forge, bellows only, no electronic equipment to keep it going. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Lena asks if there's anything like this in California.
Yes, there is. Look up the Society for Creative Anachronism in California. In the northern part of the state, there's the Great Western War, and in the southern.
I was fighting with the Kingdom of the West this event.
And in the southern part, I'm not certain, but in many places in Europe and in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the Society for Creative Anachronism might be a very accessible way for you to get into living history. And I know that many reenactors have very, very pejorative things to say about the SCA, but it has many advantages, and one of it is that it's inclusive, and the starting level is low, and you're encouraged to grow from there. So it doesn't require a high bar just to get started.
Allison likes black work.
Yes, there are people doing black work here for certain, and there are classes on black work. Absolutely.
How would one become a lady in waiting for an event like this?
So you could become a lady. So ladies in waiting, damsels, as they're called, because lady in waiting, I've recently learned, is an 18th century term.
a great podcast.
Yeah, great podcast on medievalist.net. Ladies in Waiting. Check out medievalist.net podcast. Look up Ladies in Waiting. It's a fantastic podcast. So illuminating. Anyway, you have to make friends with someone who wants one. So I am always, if you ever come to an event where I am always in need of more damsels because I am always so busy and I need someone else to manage everything else about my existence, basically. But basically, to become a damsel, you just put out there, you go to a forum for an event that's happening and you say, I would like to attend someone, I would like to be in someone's retinue. Does anyone need any support? And I guarantee you're going to get a lot of support. In the SCA, it's really easy. You can become a retinue to a king or queen, or to a baron and baron, or a retinue, part of the retinue of a king and queen, or a baron and baroness, by reaching out to the respective level of the organization. And if it's the king and queen, you reach out to their chamberlain. If it's a baron and baroness, maybe they have a chamberlain too. But it's really easy. We're always happy to have you.
Any stonemasons?
Yes, there are stonemasons here as well.
There are?
Yes.
I totally missed that.
Yeah, there are. Well, okay, actually, there are in general. I don't know if there are this year. There are often stonemasons here. Yep. Okay, we
wants to know if we come to the UK, let Twitchy know. Of course, we'll let you know, Twitchy.
Twitchy, the next time we're in the UK, we are totally getting together. 1,000,000%.
Butter churning.
Oh yeah, butter churning. Love butter. There are people here who are doing. There are people here, if it's safe, i.e., not toxic and destructive to life. There are people here doing probably one of those medieval skills, one of those medieval handcrafts. You were going to laugh at me when I say this, we only had 8,600 people this year. Normally we have 10 to 12,000. So we pretty much get critical mass for any kind of crazy medieval living history experiment you might want to pursue. And with 2 weeks, you actually have time to pursue it.
Some of the merchants are doing experiments.
Yeah, some of the merchants, if you watch my live stream from the night market and from Cosmetica of Skora the other day, you'll actually see us talking about experiments that are collaborative between a medieval cosmetics expert and a historical glassblowing expert, and they get together to try to recreate this object that they think contains some kind of cosmetics, right? The beautiful glass birds. So yeah, there's literally here happening all through the event, medieval experimentation on medieval material culture. Yeah.
And yes, in a roundabout way, we will be going back to Korea after this.
Yes, I will be going back to Korea in about a week-ish, a little over a week. I'll be returning. Yep, indeed.
I'll be near Texas, Cornelia.
Okay, everyone, we actually do have to get moving. I have a Lord Master Papa, as some of you have heard me call my father. He's a pelican in the Society for Creative Anachronism. It's a joke. Anyway, he would like to depart by 2 of the afternoon, the second hour of the afternoon today, and we have to tear everything down and get it all put away in storage.
Yeah, we need to move.
So we need to move. So everyone, I thank you so much for joining me for my swanky glamping tour today. If you're watching this as a recording and you have any questions, just pop them in the comments. I will get to them. Otherwise, I thank my channel members and my patrons for generously supporting my work. I thank all of you who leave super chat tips. And I also thank all of you who've become part of my community and have just been part of this momentum of inspiring historical creativity by commenting in the live stream, by commenting under my videos, by hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. Thank you all. This has been a really beautiful journey for me.
And if you want to do more armor and casting.
Oh yeah, and if you want any of the bling that we saw today, the Armor and Castings bling, they are a channel sponsor and you get a discount on all of their items with Contessa 10, which of course then shows them that the sponsorship is worth it, etc., etc., etc. Armor and Castings are pretty awesome. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, stay creative, everyone. Bye.